13 states at the least have trigger bans already in place, meaning that abortion will be immediately banned if Roe v. Wade is no longer in effect.
Well, he's saying that there's probably a couple of states where if the life of the mother is definitively in danger or rape. Now, not in all those states, but of course there's going to be bans. And then, of course, the idea is that he's in the same comment says it's perfectly fine, even though he has a problem with it being federalized, for the federal government and the legislature, the House and the Senate, to either make abortion legal or illegal. And I guarantee you, within a year, if the Republicans do what they did during the Trump years, the first election of Trump, control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and there's every reason to believe, if you look at the numbers in 2024, that the Senate could go to a filibuster-proof Senate, or that the Republicans will get rid of the filibuster, they will ban abortion in every state in this country. Do not kid yourself. He knows it. We know it. You should know it. And then the idea that this is something the voters should decide. Again, 3 of the Supreme Court justices on that court that are going to vote to overturn Roe v. Wade were appointed by a president who had millions upon millions of less votes, lost the popular vote. So the voters did not decide. The reason why there was 3 vacancies instead of 2 vacancies on that court was because a Senate majority, which held that majority with something like 40 million less votes. American voters, 40 million more of them voted for Democrats than Republicans, but the Republicans controlled the Senate and would not allow for a hearing on Barack Obama's Supreme Court pick. The legislatures, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, these are just off the top of my head. The majority of voters voted for Democrats, and Republicans control the state legislatures by wide margins. That's gerrymandering. So this is not something that's going to be decided by democracy or the voters. It's going to be decided by that Supreme Court. And the idea embedded in Alito's brief that there are no constitutional rights that are unenumerated except for those that existed at the founding of the country when men were allowed to own other human beings. Slaves, wives, literally wives were chattel. That's the only rights that can exist today if they're not enumerated. And that is, of course, their right to have property and to have an undemocratic Senate.
Yep. And when you put it like that, when you claim that rights had to be long held or whatever,
deeply rooted,
that's what it means. We are going to protect the hegemony of white men in this country and pretend it's a states' rights issue. When you make it about, let the states decide, that means that it's a free-for-all. And all of these minoritarian, all of the minoritarian rule that we have enshrined through gerrymandering, the way that we have, through lots of dark money, taken over state legislatures, we have the infrastructure in place to ensure that from an actual practical level, women will have fewer rights. And so we're going to do it on the ground, and we're going to do it in the courts. That's what they want. And he wants to downplay it because theocracy isn't sexy. Like, people don't like the concept of a religious, evangelical, right wing oppressing women. And that bears itself out in the polling. So you have to pretend it's no big deal. It's no big deal. That's why all of these anti-abortion activists have been howling about it for decades. It's no big deal. It's not really going to change anything.
It makes a farce of law, too, that, this whole institution where people are basically monks to go learn it, and you come out with phrases like deeply rooted, whatever the hell that means.
It means when white guys were their own little kings. That's what it means.
I want to share this. This is...
let me just also say this one thing. Kudlow, Opus Dei. He is a member of Opus Dei. So, slightly different brand of theocrat, but a theocrat. Go ahead, sorry.